I went to see the Watchmen the day after it came out, actually. And I realized that I'm not doing this video until probably everyone who's going to see the movie, or wanted to, has already seen it. For that I apologize, but the last few weeks have been kind of busy between being ill and moving back and forth through the country, from Philadelphia to California to West Virginia to New York City. So I haven't really had a moment to myself. First thing about The Watchmen, it further established the belief that I had already come to, that it's much better to watch the movie before reading the book. Now, the reason for that is because the movie will never live up to the book, ever. It's an impossibility. Mainly because of character development. If you can't develop the character, it's harder for audiences or readers or the patron of whatever art to really sympathize or empathize with the characters. And movies can't really do that because there's only so much you can do visually as opposed to within the imagination. And also a time restraint. Movies can only be so long, whereas books can expand as much as they would like. The only problem that can arise from this, the only problem that arises from watching the movie first, is that it sometimes dampens the experience of the book because you're bound by the images in the movie. So I suggest that you approach it as two separate forms of art, because that's what it is. Movies are a certain type of art, and novels or graphic novels are quite a different, kind of art. And I know that you cannot escape comparing the two, since they're under the same title and about the same things. However, I would ask that you would try to separate them. Now, with that in mind, I just want to say that Watchmen was a fantastic movie. It really was. It was very entertaining. It was very epic. My problem with it is this 3-hour movie. You're sitting through it and you're investing 3 hours into it, and yet there were only 2 characters that are really developed. They're only really, Rorschach and Dr. Manhattan are really the only 2 characters that are really developed. That's a problem. However, it wasn't enough of a problem to keep it from being a good movie. My other problem with it was that there were times of it that just looked and felt too much like 300. Same director. I have a problem with directors who use the same tricks in all their movies. But once again, stylistically, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's fun to watch. As far as flat out filmmaking, it was very well done. The CGI was probably the best I've ever seen. It did a very good job of creating a parallel future, because it's a mixture of past and future. For in our position, it's a future, but it's not our future. It's a future what might have been, which I thought was very clever, and I thought that they did a very good job of creating that. I heard some people say that it was hard to follow, but I didn't have a problem following it. But I guess I can kind of understand that, because it's kind of screwing with history and the whole, I don't know. Something that really surprised me, something that I don't think I've ever experienced, is the ending in the film is actually better than the ending in the book. It's one of the few times ever that something in a movie has been better than something in a book. Who knew? But it was actually a very clever ending. But yeah, no, it was a very good film. I recommend it. I've heard other people complain about the blue penis that was all over, Dr. Manhattan. Went around without clothes. And as unnecessary as I thought it was to see it as often as he did, it was very necessary for his character. It was one of the things that developed his character. One of the reasons why I said that he's one of the characters that were developed. It displayed his further detachment from civilization, from socially acceptable behavior, and from just humanity in general. But there are a lot of interesting concepts. The concept of love and how it doesn't really make sense. Mysteries of humanity. Man's ability to survive, and yet man's also wickedness. And it's very nihilistic, but I thought they did a very good job of presenting that. And their philosophy of mankind was actually was very well presented. In any case, fantastic film. Recommend watching it at least once. I plan on buying it once it comes out, so I can further study it, because I think that the way films are going, they require studying these types of films, because these are the types of films that really are speaking to and are reflections of our generation. So I salute to the filmmakers. It's worth 3 hours. It's a very good film.